Wow. Status report for tomorrow's game versus Los Angeles. Caitlin Clark out back. Tony, status report, fans out. Fatigue.
Those reactions tell the whole story. Betrayal, anger, exhaustion. This isn't just another game day letdown. This is a fan base snapping. And it all started with one injury report. A routine Tuesday. Indiana Fever dropped their lineup for the CBS game against the LA Sparks. One name catches everyone's eye, Caitlin Clark. Out. Back injury. Within minutes, comment sections explode. Fans aren't just upset she's missing a game. They're done. Fed up with what they believe is a league that keeps failing to protect its biggest star.
White Sports supporters, well, I knew whenever the official Indiana Fever injury status report would get unleashed, it would get ugly for the Indiana Fever and the WNBA. A lot of fans out there, a lot of fans.
And he's not wrong. This got ugly fast. The Fever's social media team probably regrets ever posting that injury report, because what followed wasn't just criticism. It was a full-scale revolt with one loud message: we're not watching anymore. Let's put this in perspective. This wasn't some buried regular season game on League Pass. This was CBS, national television, free over the air. The kind of exposure the WNBA desperately needs to grow beyond its core fan base. Primetime, major network, the perfect stage for their biggest star. Instead, fans open their phones to find Caitlin Clark sitting on the bench with a back injury. And here's where it gets deeper, because fans aren't just upset about one missed game. The growing belief among her supporters is that this injury didn't just happen. They say the league spent the entire season letting her get physically targeted, hit after hit, with little to no consequence. And now, she's paying the price.
Until we feel satisfaction with the one player that largely people are tuning in to see, which is Caitlin Clark. So, 2 posts have backfired. Let's start with this one, because the irony was not lost on me. Tomorrow, meaning tomorrow night's game, we are celebrating.
Here's where it gets really serious. This isn't about one injury. This isn't about one missed game. This is months of frustration boiling over. Frustration that's been building since Clark first stepped into this league back in April 2024. Fans have watched her get knocked down, elbowed, grabbed, roughed up, in ways that would draw instant technicals, maybe even ejections, in almost any other professional basketball league. Take the Alyssa Thomas incident. Connecticut's Sunday Thomas, a veteran known for playing physical, makes contact with Clark that fans immediately called intentional. Excessive. The replay doesn't lie. Thomas's fist connects with Clark's throat during a scramble for the ball. No flagrant foul. No review. Play just continues. Then it gets worse. Clark goes down, and while she's on the ground, Thomas's knee connects with her midsection. Fans called it deliberate. A strike to her groin area. Still no whistle. No review. No acknowledgement from officials that anything had even happened. And the league's response? Silence. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert said nothing in her weekly media session. The officiating crew faced zero discipline. Alyssa Thomas. No fine. No supplementary punishment. Nothing. The message fans received was loud and clear. This is acceptable, as long as it's Caitlin Clark.
Clark got a knee, Blue Cross Blue Shield. By the time all these hateful-ass players get done with her, I mean, fans aren't having it. Stop pretending to care about women. You don't. It's obvious you're trying to give Caitlin Clark's career-ending injuries what a bunch of hateful...
And that contrast, that's what's driving fans absolutely insane. The Fever posted about Inspiring Women Night, sponsored, celebrated, the whole package. Female empowerment, achievement, all of it. The irony hit immediately, and it hit hard. How do you celebrate inspiring women while your most inspiring player is getting physically beaten down with zero protection? Fans flooded the comments with the same message over and over. You don't actually care about women. You care about an agenda. And that agenda, according to a growing number of fans, doesn't include Caitlin Clark, because she doesn't fit the profile they want representing this league. Too popular, too white, too straight, too connected to a fan base that doesn't match the WNBA's traditional demographic. Now, is that perception accurate? That's a whole separate debate. But here's the thing, it almost doesn't matter, because a massive portion of the Fever's fan base believes it. And belief drives behavior. And right now, that behavior looks like a boycott. Not just this one game. Fans are threatening to walk away from the entire remainder of the season until their demands are actually met. Until someone in that league office picks up the phone, looks at the tape, and says, enough is enough.
Then watch Stephanie White's shitty, boring offense with dribble, 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 Mitchell leading the team. Call me when Cece gets back. Boycott the Indiana Fever games. Boycott, boycott. I will be celebrating not watching the Fever tomorrow. Wow. WNBA, where everybody gets a shot. This shit writes itself. Are you kidding me?
These fans aren't playing games. Look at the detail in their complaints. They're naming exact incidents, calling out specific players, tracking a pattern that goes way beyond normal frustration. This isn't just online noise. This is organized, specific, and it's getting louder by the day. And here's where the legal conversation starts. In almost every jurisdiction, assault means intentionally causing physical harm or creating a reasonable fear of it. Now take those same hits, the throat punch, the knee to the groin while Clark was already on the ground, and move them off the basketball court. Put them on a street corner between two random people. That's an arrest. That's a court date. That's a conviction. But because it happened inside an arena during a professional game, suddenly nobody wants to call it what it is. The WNBA rulebook is crystal clear. Flagrant fouls exist specifically for excessive, unnecessary contact, especially when it targets vulnerable areas or hits a defenseless player. By the league's own written rules, those incidents should have been flagged immediately, reviewed, punished. Instead, play continued like nothing happened. And now Caitlin Clark is sitting out a nationally televised game with a back injury. And fans are connecting every single dot. After the Alyssa Thomas throat punch, Clark was spotted on the bench holding her neck, visibly uncomfortable. She pushed through and finished that game, but she was moving differently in the days that followed. Now the injury report says back issues. Fans don't need a medical degree to see what might be happening here. You take a hit to the throat, you start compensating, you change how you move, you protect one area and strain another. The body breaks down gradually. And then one day, you're listed as out. Is that exactly what happened? We can't say for certain, but the pattern is impossible to ignore. Clark gets targeted. Clark shows pain. Clark eventually misses games. And the players who put her on the ground, they keep playing. No fines, no suspensions, no statement from the league. Alyssa Thomas suited up for the very next game without a single consequence. She hasn't been fined, hasn't been suspended. The league office never even publicly acknowledged that anything inappropriate occurred. And it gets worse. Other WNBA players, and even an assistant coach from the Phoenix Mercury, jumped on social media to defend Thomas. Their message: Clark needs to toughen up. Accept physical play. Stop expecting special treatment. That response right there, that's what pushed fans completely over the edge. Because it's not just that the league won't protect her. It's that the entire culture around this league actively laughs at the idea that she deserves protection in the first place. So now fans aren't just threatening to skip one game. They're talking about a complete withdrawal, total shutdown of support until real structural changes happen inside this organization. And their demands are shockingly specific. Fire Stephanie White, the Fever's head coach, who fans believe has done nothing to advocate for Clark's safety. Fire Amber Cox, the team president, who they blame for building a culture that treats Clark as a problem rather than a priority. Remove Kathy Engelbert as WNBA commissioner entirely and replace her with someone who will actually enforce player safety rules the same way for every single player. And then there's the demand that tells you just how deep this frustration really goes. fans are openly calling for Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, to step in and take direct control of WNBA operations. They've completely lost faith that anyone currently in charge has either the willingness or the competence to fix this. Some fans are even demanding Clark get traded. Think about that for a second. Fever fans, people who should want their star player to stay, are saying they'd rather watch her succeed somewhere else than see her career destroyed in Indiana. That's not just frustration anymore. That's heartbreak. Now let's talk about the media, because they're just as guilty in this story. Mainstream WNBA coverage has been almost completely silent on the physical targeting of Clark. Reporters who chase every minor controversy somehow can't find the words to cover the league's biggest star-absorbing, unprotected hits. ESPN, which holds broadcast rights to WNBA games and has a direct financial stake in the league's success, has been called out repeatedly. Multiple ESPN personalities have made dismissive comments about Clark and her fanbase. The network has aired segments questioning whether she deserves the attention she gets, whether her popularity is even good for the sport, and whether the fans who showed up for her are real WNBA fans. Here's the irony that fans cannot get past. Clark is the reason ratings exist right now. She's the reason sponsors are calling. She's the reason people who never watched a WNBA game in their life are suddenly tuning in. And yet the very media partners profiting from her popularity seem almost resentful of it. Fans noticed when broadcast cameras cut away quickly after she took a hit. They noticed when commentators downplayed violent contact as just physical basketball. They noticed highlight packages that led with her turnovers and buried her best plays. When the media decides not to cover something, they're not just staying neutral, they're making a choice. And that choice has consequences. It creates an environment where targeting Clark carries no social cost, no public accountability, no reason to stop. Then there's the Stephanie White angle, and this one is raising serious eyebrows. White was hired as Indiana's head coach in October 2024. But before that, she spent time coaching the Connecticut Sun, where she worked directly with Alyssa Thomas. The same Alyssa Thomas who punched Clark in the throat. White also had a close professional relationship with Dejounte Carrington, another Sun player who has been publicly and repeatedly critical of Clark on social media. And she had ties to several ESPN personalities whose coverage of Clark has been, at best, dismissive. Fans are asking uncomfortable questions. Did White bring anti-Clark opinions with her from Connecticut? Did she share information about Clark's game with players who later used it to target her? Is she intentionally designing offensive schemes that reduce Clark to a corner-standing role player rather than the playmaking engine she's always been? The numbers make this hard to dismiss. Clark's usage rate is down. Her assists have dropped. She's running fewer pick and rolls and spending more time standing off the ball. For a player who dominated at Iowa by controlling the pace and creating for teammates, this shift in role feels intentional, and fans want answers. And while all of this unfolds, Caitlin Clark's agent sits in the background. Fans have started turning their frustration toward Erin Kane as well. Has she formally demanded better protection from the league? Has she filed complaints about officiating? Has she explored legal avenues? Nobody outside those private conversations knows. But the public result speaks for itself. Nothing has changed, and her client is sitting out games. Here's the part that should terrify everyone running this league. The WNBA just came off the most successful season in its entire history. And almost all of that success traces directly back to one player. Attendance records broken. Television ratings tripled and quadrupled in games featuring Clark. Merchandise flying off shelves. Sponsorship money pouring in. New fans showing up to arenas that used to be half empty. An entire economic revival built on the foundation of one person. And now that person is watching from the bench with a back injury. What happens to the CBS ratings for this game without her? What happens when the pattern continues? When viewership swings entirely based on whether Clark is healthy enough to play that night? The league has built itself into a position where it is economically dependent on a player that its own culture seems to resent. That is not sustainable. You cannot harvest the financial benefits of someone's popularity while simultaneously allowing the environment around them to break their body down. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert has been absolutely silent through all of this. No press conference. No officiating directive. No acknowledgement that anything needs to change. Fans aren't just frustrated by that silence anymore. They're interpreting it as permission. Permission for this behavior to continue. Permission for Clark to keep getting targeted without consequence. Compare that to the NBA. If a player bringing LeBron James-level attention and revenue was being physically targeted without protection, Adam Silver would be holding a press conference within 24 hours. Fines would be announced. Officiating memos would be issued. The message would be unmistakable: this ends now. Instead, the WNBA has let this situation rot. They've watched their most valuable player accumulate injuries. They've watched the fan base reach a boiling point. And they've done nothing. Now they're facing the consequences. Fans are not watching the CBS game. Fans are not buying tickets. Fans are canceling League Pass. Fans are walking away from merchandise, away from social media engagement, away from everything they built around watching Caitlin Clark play basketball. And without Clark, or without fans who trust that Clark is being protected, the league doesn't have a product worth selling. The WNBA built its greatest season on Clark's popularity. Now they're watching that foundation develop cracks because they failed at the most basic responsibility, protecting their most important player. So here's where everything stands. Will Cathy Engelbert finally say something? Will officiating standards actually change? Will players face real punishment for targeting Clark? Will the Fever's front office make the moves necessary to protect their franchise player? Or does this league keep sleepwalking down this road until Clark's career is cut short, the fans disappear, and everything gained this historic season evaporates completely? Because right now, that's exactly the direction this is heading. One injury report cracked the surface, and underneath it, the entire foundation of this league is shaking. If you've been following Caitlin Clark's situation, drop a comment below. Do you think the WNBA will actually make changes before it's too late? And if you're new here, subscribe right now, because this story is far from over and you do not want to miss what comes next.